Hi, everyone. I'm Juliann. Welcome to my channel, Jewels of Knowledge. So today will be my first time, answering a few simple questions. And I want to keep the video fairly short. I mean, not real lengthy. And in doing so, excuse me, I was using my pendulum with these questions, and I wrote them down. And so this is a work in progress for me to at some point I'll have actively where we can show the pendulum getting the answers as well. But I need to figure out a way to get the screen to cooperate and get maybe a split screen. Technology is something I'm learning, so I'm going to work on it. So what I will probably do is, as I'm going through the answers that I've already found, I'm going to have this tell me yes or no. And that's exactly one of the things that you can do with your divination tool, such as a pendulum, when you're listening to other videos. If you're listening to a truther, you're listening to the news, you're listening to something like that, and you want to know, is this really true? You know what I mean? Does this resonate for me? And that helps you. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start my first question, and I wrote it down here, so I'm going to be kind of going back and forth, so I apologize. My first question is going to be from Gigi. And she says, with the change over to our crystalline bodies, are we then automatically age renewed to the age, to what age, and also healed? In other words, does it happen right away? And my answer basically is no. I mean, it's not automatic. So again, I'm usually on a board or something, and yes is forward and backward, which it's doing right now. And no, oops, I'm losing my pendulum. And no is back and forth. Okay, so no, it's not automatic. Many of us are already crystalline or close to it. And so it's definitely a process. And as far as age renewed and some of those kind of gifts, that isn't going to be, happen instantly. How long will the process take, or will we still need med beds is her question. Well, basically the med beds will be available to us in the future. Again, none of us really know exactly. Time is not something that we want to hang our hats on, basically, or it's the manifesting your beautiful world, manifesting what you want your new world and your life and your body to be. So the med beds will do all this, the age regress and heal your body in, one or two maybe visits to the med bed, and it's fairly quickly. But we're going to be receiving new gifts and new powers that they'll be restored to us. And so we will actually, through frequency and through other techniques that we will learn with our gifts, we will learn how to be our own med bed. We will learn how to take and age regress ourselves. So it's going to be very interesting how that shakes down. And then I think she's saying that on that line, if we, become age regressed and look different, how will we meet our loved ones? Will they find us? Or is this happening only by coincidence? In other words, when you get to that that crystalline place and whatnot, or we move to our new earth and get there, your soul will know. We'll have all of our memories back. You will know your family from this life and from other lives, the people that are in your soul group. So then she asks about the reincarnation wheel. She says, is it, when that is taken down, what happens to the people that pass away, that have passed away recently? So there might not be a reunion with loved ones waiting for them in the afterlife. Well, again, the reincarnation wheel was tricking people. So they kept having to come in here and repeat their life. And again, that's been taken down a while now. So people that pass go directly to source, and then they have their life review and whatnot. And they determine if and when they reincarnate or they go have their next life or their next experience. So in that being said, if a person is to pass over now, If you are specifically thinking about a relative that you're missing, yes, they could meet you there. They could meet you when you're going to source and whatnot, but they may have already reincarnated. So it depends on if they are there at that place at that time. So anyway, I hope that clarifies things, that the age regression, the healing of our bodies. I mean, the golden age will truly be beautiful and wonderful in so many ways. And that includes our body systems and the world that we live in. So I hope that helps you. The next question I'm going to go to is, she spells her name S-I-A-N. I believe it's Sean. So she says, my mom unknowingly was given the product, okay, without her consent by the hospital. She wants to know, was my mom unknowingly given the product without her consent by the hospital staff during a couple of A&E visits to the hospital? I don't know what an A&E visit encompasses, but she does say that her mom unfortunately passed away of heart failure last September, and I'm deeply sorry for your loss. That's hard. She says, my mom was aware and had refused the product before that. I mean, she knew enough to not do that. So my answer is, I'm truly sorry, like I say, for the loss of your mom. And I get that she was given, I hate to do this because then I'm going to lose with my virtual background, it's not going to show up. Let's do it this way. I get that she was given some meds that made her ill when she went to those hospital visits. Was it the product that we are talking about? Not necessarily. I get that it's because of these visits, though, to the hospital that her health did fail, and that this has happened to other people who went to that hospital as well. So not sure, possibly the product was given, whether it was through an IV, it could have been oral medication, tainted treatments, in the hospital, any number of ways that they did this. We know that they did use medications that facilitated people's progress towards failing. So she was smart enough to know not to get the product, but I will say that then when I asked the Pendulum, I asked them specifically if your mom had this contract. And now it's actually starting to swing a little bit harder, which is a little stronger yes. So yes, it was part of what your mom, her soul, had agreed to as well. So, and we are finding out that a lot of times we have to let the person with their free will, or let the person go on with what their soul had decided to do. Then she says, my husband is not awake, although he did not get the product. But we have different beliefs, and it is difficult to have meaningful conversations with him. I often think about leaving him, but currently we foster children together. I feel I'm holding on to see how he accepts the truth when it finally comes all out. So will I continue this path with him? And so my Pendulum says that I get that you will continue. Okay. So I get that you will continue with him. Okay. It is part of your agreement. It is still his choice to ascend. He's still making that decision, but you are there to help him. Okay. With his awakening. I will say it's a good thing. I mean, it's a good sign that he was awake enough not to take the product. So he knew that was not something to do. But it's very possible that when we all get that scare event or that jolt, because I think we all will have some form of scare or jolt that affects all of us, that it might be enough to snap him out of his delusion, and then he would need to rely on you for assistance. Now, so again, he's going to choose. But then, now that we know a little bit more about walk-ins, okay, so I'm asking, has he decided yet whether he's going to ascend, your husband? And it says no. And I said, so he still has time to decide. Okay. Is there still a possibility that he may get a walk-in? It actually swings pretty good there. So that's the other thing too. There's an awful lot of people that we thought might be leaving that are getting walk-ins, and that's happening currently and will continue on. So how do you tell if they're a walk-in? I suppose you can use your intuition, your pendulum, whatever, and kind of tune into it to see. There's probably some subtleties that you would notice. There would be some changes in personality and whatnot as well. So that's just another little thing to think about. So that is what I got for you, Sean, and I hope that that helps you. Okay. The next one I got, or the next question that I have is from Barb. Okay. She says, and this was like a question from March. I had the most wonderful dream or vision. In it, what looked like ETs or drones all lined up in the sky and started showing us full color holographic movie right there on the sky. And it was so very real. They were telling us all about what was going to be, what it's going to be like to live here on the new earth. It was amazing. Then they told us to go into what looked kind of like an expo with booths full of what we will be seeing with examples of different foods and stuff, different things that we could do. It was so much fun. We were having so much fun running from one thing to the next, and we couldn't wait to sample it all. And then I woke up. I couldn't wait for all of this to happen. So her question, was this real? It felt so very real. I do not see things, especially in color, and rarely remember my dreams. If it isn't real, I'm going to be sad. So let me just say my first, the answer is, it is real. Okay. So is it real? Yep. So what I get also as I keep asking some questions going along, it says your light body does work in the galactic to prepare the masses for the new world. Not sure what you do now, I mean, in this life, but I get a sense that maybe you are in real estate, or you have some kind of a knack for like interior design, something that goes hand in hand with like when people show houses and they get them created all pretty to sell them, the appeal. So I get that something like that. And I get that your talent is that you're being creative and you're good at knowledge with what people want. So you are working on the future communities and how and what will be needed to create the communities with like new tech and such that's available. So when you were asking about, will I get to see some of my gifts before the 3D or the ascension, whatnot, utilizing what gift you already have right now. And yes, you will get more. You will get plenty, we'll all get more stuff we don't even know about yet. So, and the question, as far as your soul tribe or whatever, I get Palladian. I get you have some Palladian history there. So that is what I get for you, Barb. I hope that helps you, or hope that resonates with you. Let's go to the next question. Will be from Paige, and it is the end of March. I'm sorry, it's April 24th, I think that's when she sent it in. She says, my husband passed from the product last June, and I'm very sorry. I have taken the year off from teaching, but do not feel led to return to teaching within the current school system. What is my path moving forward? I'm seeking guidance. Thank you. So with my pendulum, initially, it spelled out, gosh, sorry, I like these backgrounds, but it makes you look kind of weird, spacey. So I get that. It said, let more be revealed in the world. Okay, that you need to let more be revealed regarding the sinister agenda and the corrupt ways, because we're going to be learning about all these systems, right? And you will find a safe and beautiful way to help moving forward. The education system will change dramatically soon, certainly at least soon enough that trying to find a different job in that area at this time would not be wise. or prudent. So I get that you will be working, your focus will be working primarily with junior high school students, that age group. So then I says, well, will she be working with elementary or young children? And it kind of goes, no. And I go, will she be working with the high school or the young adults? And then it kind of gives me the circles, which means maybe. So you're going to be more adept at probably at the junior high level into the young adult category. So basically it says, I asked what you can do in the meantime. And so it said for you to imagine, in other words, manifest right now your world moving forward in a creative and beautiful way, a creative and beautiful place. You can focus on how you are going to use your teaching skills, the stuff that you have as gifts, to be creative in helping the children learn. Whereas nowadays, you might have had ideas that you couldn't share or use because all the dogma and all the rules and all the things that tie your hands. This will allow you to create what you can envision what it is you will do and what you would like to see, and you can create that world. So that's what the pendulum says for you to do. Is that right? Okay. So yes, your intuition is right on to not jump into another job right now. So I hope that helps, Paige. Okay, so next person, I'm going to go to Natalie Z. She's in Ontario, Canada. And I believe the original email was like April 20th. And then she resent it early May. So she says, I believe one of my powers is clairaudience. About 10 or 15 years ago, I had an experience at a Dead Sea Scrolls exhibit. I leaned into one piece of the scroll to look closer, and a female voice in a language I didn't know whispered something to me. No one was around me. Do you get what the message was and who it was from? So I got that. Let's kind of calm this thing down. I got that you were close to the scrolls. You were so close to the scrolls that you were given confirmation. You were given confirmation that you know about the scrolls, that you lived in the time of Jesus when there was a great hunger for the awakening of souls. In other words, you were a part of the Essenes, okay? So who spoke to you? I got that it was your archangel, Uriel. Is that correct? Is Uriel usually one of her archangels? It says yes, pretty definitely. So anyway, the message was given to you to let you know that you were a part of that time in history. So as time goes on, again, these are knowings, they'll come back to you. So I hope that gives you some joy. We're going to go to Stephanie V. She says, one night, this is a question, one night while letting my dog out in the middle of the night, it must have been fairly recently, I was standing at the door, and while waiting for my dog to come back to the door, I suddenly felt nauseous, and I had an electric blue energy coursing through my body. It lasted only about 30 seconds. It freaked me out a bit, but I let my dog back in and returned to bed and had a peaceful sleep for the rest of the night. What did I experience? Okay, so in asking my pendulum that question initially, it spelled out a name, and it didn't really make any sense. Okay, and many times when you are, especially if you maybe you're in a hurry or you really want the answer, higher self isn't the best sometimes at spelling things or putting in words things. And there are, when you're talking about extraterrestrials or certain things, some of the angels, some of them have names that aren't really pronounceable or spellable, you can't really convey them. So anyway, then I asked, well, who was that, the person that the name? And it says it was an aunt of yours that had passed before you were born. So is that still true, that this person was an aunt? So in her family in this life, okay. That this lady, this aunt, had a dog herself many years ago, she obviously loved her dog, and she was protecting your dog, Stephanie, from a threat. And it wasn't a threat from any nefarious energy. It was a threat. Was it a threat from a predator? It was a threat from some predator, animal, or something was not good out there. So, and then I asked, so aside from the fact that this aunt, this person was in her family in this life, was she also connected to her another way? And it said yes. And so it said, this person is also her galactic soul family. Like so that makes sense with the electric blue energy. The pendulum did not know. Do you know the ET race that this soul family comes from? No. Many times there are lots of different races of extraterrestrial out there that we have not heard of yet or before. Again, may not really have a pronounceable name. So anyway, likely the pendulum did not know the race, but Stephanie, you felt nauseous due to the impending danger for your dog, but you felt the blue energy because the ET, the ant, the being, there to assist you was also, I get that being was blue. It's a blue race. So I hope that makes some kind of sense. So obviously you have somebody that is from not only this life, but your soul family connection that kind of watches over you or maybe watches the space. So hopefully that resonates. Let's go to a question from Jan. Jan says, can the energy of a deceased person's jewelry be removed from the piece? And then secondly, can the spirit of a deceased person attach itself to the jewelry item? So basically, she says, I've heard that mediums sometimes connect with deceased persons by holding on to their jewelry or their gold watch or whatever. So I hesitate to buy for any fear that there might be energy that it would affect mine, because she says she really at this time doesn't sense energy. So if you wore a ring that like from the grandma that you loved, does that bring her spirit close to you? Okay, so basically, yes, you can clear, the energy of your jewelry simply by washing it according to the appropriate measures. So depending on if, what kind of jewelry it is, if it's silver, gold, whatever, and if it has gems like a diamond or a ruby or stones, they can just be washed or cleansed in something, a gentle cleaner, if you will. But if it's a jewelry piece that has the crystal, for instance, it's a crystal pendulum. Obviously the crystal is being held by the jewelry part that can be cleaned easily, but your crystal is a living being. So the crystals fall into that category of you'd want to do something in addition to just cleaning the jewelry part or the metal part. So you can, cleanse it with the sun, with water, with grounding on the dirt, grass, or burying it into that. The smoke of the burning the sage or the herbs, there's a multitude of ways and stuff that we kind of cover in the class and stuff. There's just a lot of times I just say, ask the pendulum what it wants to do, or ask the crystal. So that would be the significance there. So what does it, the jewelry does have, does keep the energy or the residue from the person that it was with before, whether they're still living or whether they have crossed over. Now, does it, okay, let's just do this again. Okay, so there's a piece of jewelry, hold on to energy or residue from the person that had it. Yes. Can it be cleansed? Yes. Does the spirit, is the spirit attached, or the soul rather, is the soul of the, let's say the deceased, is the soul attached to the item? And that's a no. Okay, so it's just the residue or the energy, not the soul. Now, yes, a medium or a psychic or somebody that has the ability to connect to their side, and all of us already do, but will develop that in time too, where we can talk to them. They can hold on to that watch or that ring or whatever, because most likely it hasn't been cleaned. So it has the residue or the energy. It doesn't, and then they can connect to the higher self of that person, but it's not their spirit that's attached to it. And so the other part of the question is, she's heard from an antique dealer that if you buy an old piece of furniture, like at an estate sale or auction, or people garage sale and all that kind of stuff, do the spirits, do they do the same as the jewelry? And it's true that the same thing applies. Whoever owned, whether it's clothing, you're thrift shopping for clothing and or furniture and whatnot, just cleanse it or clean it. Like if you're shopping for clothes, just laundering it is enough to remove their residue and so forth. Some of the furnitures, sometimes you can clean them pretty well, but if it's fabric, I mean, it may not clean all the way. What you can do as you learn to play with energy and learn to talk and know your intuition, whether it's with a pendulum or whatnot, you can ask or tune in, does this have the energy? Does this have good energy on it? You know what I mean? Whether that person is alive or passed on now, what does the residual energy of this item feel like? Okay. And if it's really not bad, it's not a bad thing. Just keep it clean and enjoy it. But then it got me to thinking myself, and I've wondered, every time you hear or read about tragedy that happens in the homes and different things, or people are enlivened in a tragic way in this home or whatever, it's kind of spooky and scary, and somebody will probably live there again. They're going to clean it up and resell it, and somebody else will. So then that kind of like bugs me a little bit as far as the energies, but you would want to check into that. Okay. So, but it doesn't mean that the soul or spirit of the person, I'm sorry, it's their residue and their energy that is most likely what's going to be. So, because buildings can have a bad energy as well. And actually, even if you're traveling, you can use your divination or your intuition to kind of see, sense. A lot of times your spiny sense will get alerted on that. But yeah, those are little rabbit trails I don't like to go down. So I hope that helps you basically enjoy the jewelry, clean it. Crystals, clean them according to what crystals can do, because some crystals can't do water, can't do sun very well. And with your furniture, I mean, thrift shopping can be kind of delightful and kind of wonderful, and the styles are kind of fun, if you're into the retro thing. And just, clean them, check into them, and do the best with that, and you're going to be fine. So the last question I came up with is from Patricia, or Trish, I believe she goes by. She says, I am having heart opening, dropping my trauma out. So her heart is opening and she's dropping her trauma out. Wondering if my diamond geometry comes straight from the ego, because I want it to be seen as special. Now, I do not know. I haven't figured out how to screen share and how to do all that kind of stuff. So what I did was I took a picture of your beautiful diamond geometry, your artwork. Oh, it's not going to show me. It's not going to let me show you. Maybe it will. Well, note to self, a virtual, let's see if I can get it. At least one of them. This is a cause for laughter. Can you see a little bit of that corner? Oh my goodness. Well, I'm not going to redo the video, but this is, anyway, you get a kind of a sense, dark on it, because they're really beautiful pictures. Anyway, she wants to know if it's coming from her ego. So that's a good one. We're doing this without even knowing what we're doing. The the diamond, what I'm getting is, you know, it's natural for you to want your artwork to look, or to be special and to be, you know, adored and loved, because it really is very pretty. And so there's a little bit of ego that's involved with that, but it's nothing that's unnatural or harsh. But I get that this diamond geometry, okay, so I will do this. This diamond geometry is letting you heal with frequency. So due to the shapes, okay? This is helping your heart chakra open and release the trauma, okay? It resonates with you also, as I was asking other questions, because I get that this is a gift that you have had, that was given to you, but that you are remembering, or that you have had. It comes from a past life in Lemuria. And it said that that is where you used to use these shapes to build mansions hundreds of feet tall, when you were helping create cities of crystals and gems. So is that what you're going to stick with, that answer? Okay, Lemuria it is. Okay, so that was just going on a little bit further, but no, it's not coming from your ego. It is basically a gift that you had already, that you are, you know, that carried through, and it's pretty special, it's pretty wonderful. So that is what I know, guys, and you got to watch me learn how the virtual backgrounds work. Guess I can't do any photos and stuff, so obviously this girl's got some tech to learn, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I thank you all for watching, and again, we're going to do our best to try to answer these questions and get caught up, and appreciate all of your participation in all of the questions, and again, all the love and support that you send Honey and I and our team. We enjoy doing it too. So love you all. Love and light. Bye-bye.